Olga, thank you very much. And I'm aware of the fact that we are late, but at the same time, I have to congratulate every speaker who was intervening before, because this was a very logical and insightful series of presentations. I want to conclude right now from UNWTO's point of view with two initiatives which are conducted under the umbrella of the commitment of UNWTO as the lead of the Sustainable Tourism Program of One Planet, where we as UNWTO are committed to accelerate sustainable consumption and production. And one of the commitments, or two of the commitments over there, aim at accelerating especially the model of circular economy, the commitment and the transformation from a linear to a circular economy. I explain right now in this presentation these two initiatives and show some of the commitments which are related to them, but also show the resources which were made available from the partners and UNWTO throughout the existence of these initiatives. And then I encourage everybody, first of all, to think how to interface with these initiatives, and second of all, to join them, as these are very interesting commitments which are creating additional discussions and in the tourism sector. Let's go into depth over here and start with the Global Tourism Plastics Initiative, a complementary initiative with Ellen MacArthur's New Plastics Economy, the Global Commitment, where we have been focusing the signatories on various commitments. First of all, the circularity of plastics, but through, as I mentioned before, through those two initiatives also opening the doors of circularity in the wider sphere of the committing enterprises, but also destinations. So seeing it as a catalytic start for something significantly larger. Eliminating problematic and unnecessary plastics is at the forefront of the commitments and initiatives, and then later on thinking and reusing and collaborating among the partners. 162 signatories as per today have committed and are reporting, and we are counting every year another 50 to 100 committed partners of this initiative. The code below shows as logical the landing page of the Global Tourism Plastic Initiative and some of the resources. Besides the commitment, I mentioned that UNWTO is identifying useful resources, is preparing with the co-leads of the initiative other support materials, and to allow over there to prioritize well. And we see here the different stakeholders which are invited and which we see having committed to from the tourism sector, is aligning on the objectives of the plastic initiative, and committing over there that problematic areas in the tourism sector are stopped, and actually the tourism sector is using its abilities to act as an agent of change, because the experiences made in the tourism sphere during holidays can trigger that this is not only tackled within the sphere of tourism, but actually is triggering then changing behavior of consumers. We see here the top one priority, and when you are looking at this slide, you see many of the elements which are very present in hotel establishments, accommodation establishments, cruises, or somewhere else where consumers are actually receiving these materials. Our signatories have committed to eliminate those category 1 elements from their supply and use to tourists. You see here, especially I want to highlight two publications, resources UNWTO has made available. To the right, you see the plastics measurement methodology for accommodation providers, extremely helpful to get a better understanding where the baseline is and where progress is made, where recommendations are made, and they have been consulted with all those experts having committed, but also outside of the plastics initiative experts in the field. So it's a very interesting resource also for observatories to see what is the consensus on measurement on in this specific field of plastics and reporting on that. The other one is a focus on the procurement, which is an important element when bringing these materials to the establishments and destinations. Another guide developed over there, available on our website. The QR code over here makes it easy for you to go there. The second area, as you can imagine, is food waste. You might have heard of it, and that food waste in general plays a major issue. And our efforts by developing this framework have focused on that food never becomes a waste, that as a core objective. That is not easy. And at the same time, it is SDG 12.3, where there's a global commitment existing, but we, through this initiative, we're breaking it down for the tourism sector. Prevent, redistribute, and divert, and making sure that for two of the core areas, accommodation and cruises, for which we have designed our guidance material, by 2030, we in the tourism sector have food waste per guest night or per guest day. But it is also important to show that through both initiatives, we are interconnecting then with other resources. Here we demonstrate now clearly the link of food waste with greenhouse gas emissions, and put over there the figure 30% estimated are related to that. 50% of the land occupied and 70% of the fresh water are related to the global food system. And therefore, you can imagine that addressing this has multiplier effects in the tourism sector, but as I said before, also, if well managed outside of the tourism sector, having positive influences. When we analyze national tourism policies, those documents where governments are formulating how the tourism sector shall develop the objectives, we found that 77% of these policies identify food as a competitive advantage. It is something which is very close in tourism promotion strategies, but only actually 3 of those policies we found portray then sustainable food approach and think of food in the way how our initiative right now is actually suggesting. We know that in general this is new, but we are receiving very positive feedback both from national tourism administrations, but also from destinations. This is why today is a very good moment to encourage you to link to us, to identify through the resources areas of measurement, but also to consider over here closing the links with UNWTO in this very important field, as the tourism sector can here have a very catalytic function also for the entire way how food is provided in the destination to local residents. Here again, the 2 targets and milestones for accommodation and cruises, as I just mentioned before, by 2030 to halve food waste per guest night and per guest day for both sectors. So measurement guidance for those, we are, as you can see here from this side, in the development of a commitment. But so far, in the guidance we have and developed over here gives already first indications on how measurement of the advances over the baseline shall be collected, and then considering that we here speak today about destinations, how that can influence destination management organizations in their own commitments developed for the stakeholders to be taken into account. And as I said before, to see alignment so that we see in the tourism sector these 2 areas and others as catalytic functions for a circular economy approach in tourism and beyond.